start off with one of our title topics, top 3 ways to not lose enterprise deals.
Yeah, this is changing for me because this is the very first time I carry a bag in my entire career.
Really?
Right. I'm the CEO, but also the head of sales.
Yeah.
And it's changing for me. But as of today, the 3 things I think we need to consider when winning the enterprise sales transaction is being very transparent in what the sales process looks like.
So maybe go through, mention each 3,
it's
each one, and then we'll go back through.
Yeah, it's transparency, it's flexibility, and it's building that trust and partnership with your buyers, with your champions, and also even converting the detractor to a convert into a champion as well.
Yeah, totally. So maybe we start on the first one talking about transparency.
Yeah, I think a lot of these buyers in these enterprise transactions, it might be their second transaction for buying a solution. So they don't know how to go buy software. And so being transparent around, okay, this is what we're going to be doing in the next 30, 60 days. We're going to learn about your as is and to be state, like what is your pain?
Yep.
What is your current process that's causing that pain? And where ideally do you want to see yourself after making an investment in a solution that will help you, right? So learning, having your customers learn what the process of buying and being very transparent about that, who they need to bring into the organization at the right time, when and where, that's super helpful because you kind of help them understand where you need to be in order for you to be successful and so that the deal can happen, right? Because it's a partnership.
Yeah, I mean, transparency, I also think of just being authentic, right? Transparent, authentic, saying, hey, we're going to tell you everything. We're not going to, we don't do everything. Here's what we do, here's what we don't do. And be open to you about kind of whatever it is. To
Exactly.
me, that's a point of transparency as well. And then what about flexibility?
I think flexibility is really important. What a lot of people don't really understand is not every deal is going to look exactly the same, right?
Totally.
Your $1 million deal, your $9 million deal, your $50,000 deal, your $10,000 deal. There's a lot of permutations and a lot of things that are very different across each of those. So understanding what their budget is, understanding when they can go buy your software because they're currently on their existing solution that they might want to turn off later on. So understanding where the renewal is, and maybe the renewal is 3 to 6 months out, how can you maybe customize the deal so that the start date is out? And then maybe the payment terms are a little bit out too. And maybe you go discount it such that they're not buying 2 solutions and paying for it at the same time. So being very flexible and understanding what their criteria is for buying, that's super helpful. So I've seen a lot of deals happen in my time. I touched over 2 billion, like I mentioned, and some of the best sales reps out there understand where they need to be and what the deal needs to look like in order for it to have a higher probability of success. And so that's one of my biggest advice for founders who are running their own sales process, and for even seasoned sales leaders.
Absolutely. And then on the trust side, there's rest in peace, Walter Brown, who has contributed a lot in my book, Your Go-To Sales Advisor. But Ken Doherty and others will quote him all the time, and Brian Bell. He has one thing, which is know me, like me, trust me, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that trust. It takes a while to get there. What do you think of in terms of trust?
I think trust is listening. To build a trustful, like a relationship where both parties is trusting each other, you have to get to know them, right? What keeps you up at night? What are some of the challenges that you face at work? What are things that you're trying to go achieve in your careers? And if you go spend the time to listen, one of my biggest mentors out there is Mark Craney. And one of the first things he says in these quarterly sales QBRs is, you have 2 of these and you have 1 of this. Right. So go listen to your customers and understand what makes them tick, what their concerns are, what the pain is. So listening and just, building that relationship where, okay, I'm just going to listen to you for a little bit and let me know what's going on. that's part of that trust in that relationship, right? The second thing is, if you need to push your customer or your prospect off the plane to go bungee jump because it's a really big move, there's going to be times in your career, in your sales cycle, where you just got to push the customer and say, hey, you got to trust me, right? This solution is going to solve a lot of these things. So that's important, right? To have that oomph to be able to go have that painful conversation. But ultimately, building trust is also like telling the truth sometimes, right? Hey, our solution, like you mentioned, our solution does not achieve that yet, but I'd love to learn more about why you might need that feature. And so I could go and build that, go back to my team and my engineering team and say, hey, they need this feature. It's going to unlock $2 million of cost savings, or it's going to unlock more revenue for the business. Can we think about building that? And can we build that feature in so that, maybe once we roll it out, like we could go sell them it, but we'll sell them at a lower price because they're going to be the first customer for it. But ultimately, just telling the truth when it matters is super important to build that relationship. So those are the things that I've learned from really well-seasoned sales reps when I supported them in their sales cycles.
Absolutely. So
good job on that.
Transparency, flexibility, and building trust. So all great points. So the kind of second title topic we have is around kind of CPQ Insights. So I know you've already touched on a lot, and I don't know if there's any other kind of insights that you would have to share about people. Obviously, they can improve Salesbricks, but kind of any other more generic insights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go step a little bit out of the wheel here and say, what does selling software look like in 5 to 10 years? It's not going to be a CPQ, right? It's going to be revenue infrastructure. It's going to be something like a Shopify.
Or you're doing the example of, who would have thought 5 years ago that we'd be on doing apps for the airline reservations and everything else, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a lot of these industries in the B2C world, right? Travel agencies, streaming media or media like Blockbuster. Where's Blockbuster now, right? A lot of these industries that invest in technology that focuses on the customer experience and the customer accessibility, democratizing the product, making it easy to get access to, those industries and those companies in particular are going to win the race, right? If you see what Netflix did to streaming media or to video rentals, what Expedia did for travel agencies, we want to do the same exact thing for software sales. And so we coin ourselves as we are the Shopify for B2B SaaS companies. And our number one criteria and our number one focus is to make it absolutely easy for customers, for buyers, for tech buyers to buy the software. So whether that be product enablement actually within embedded into the checkout flow, or allowing them to swipe their card, or allowing them to just buy the buy the product with a signature online, like just making it absolutely easy for buyers to buy. That's what our solution is. And in the near future, like that's going to be the critical infrastructure that's powering software sales. Yeah,
amazing. And it's, there's a couple of concepts like value selling is a concept that has been out there forever, but just the whole, I'll call it pain in the ass factor. And it doesn't have to be SaaS. It could be hardware, software, on-prem, off-prem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody, right? You have these teams of, pre-sales engineers. You're talking about sales. These teams of pre-sales engineers that are spent in this, labor-intensive effort getting through that CPQ process, as opposed to, hey, let's go be strategic with customers. Let's go sell.
Yeah.
And it's really not selling. So anyway, awesome. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of time that we save in our customers around creating a quote, sharing with the customer, getting the deal done and signed, they can reinvest that time back into more strategic things like customer-facing QBRs, upsell conversations.
Just selling, revenue generating time. Right?
Exactly.
A whole laundry list.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Things that you can do.
That's
Amazing.
right.
So now you're also talking about Mark Roberge before. So you also were very fortunate enough to get approved into the Stage 2 Capital Accelerator program, right?
That's right.
Maybe tell us about that.
Worked with Mandy, who kind of gated every candidate in the funnel. Got accepted about the beginning of June, I believe. Started the program and the courses in July. And I have to give my tip of the hat to Sean Poe. He does a really great job of.
All right, Sean, shout out to Sean Poe.
Sean, is dealing with 15, folks in the cohort, 15 companies. And probably 100 LPs who are resources for us, and coordinating every single meeting and introduction. Like, Sean does a really good job, and I think it's so far very flawless. So shout out to Sean, Mark. Sean's doing an amazing job.
Awesome, really good. And then speaking of which, I glanced over kind of where you're up in the what you can talk about relative to the kind of fundraising process.
Yeah, so everything's still up in the air, but we do have our process started. We do have a lead investor. We're just trying to syndicate a little bit to fill the round, but I think we're in a good spot to lock it and load everything by the end of the month.
Great, good, congrats. And as an investor, I assume a bit of, even though it's these troubled times, I think it's a bit of an up valuation. So
That's
congrats,
right. Thank you.
Really good. So you've got so much great material from when we were prepping, but one of the things you had said is the best sales book is if you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for milk. He or she will ask for milk.
That's right. I was probably in one of our offices back in 3 or 4 companies ago, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. A bunch of deal desk people and I are just shooting the can, and this customer just keeps on asking and asking for more things. And so what I've learned is this book, which is a children's book, if you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want a glass of milk. It's a great analogy for what salespeople have to go through when they're trying to get a deal done. And so it first starts with, I need you to solve my problem.
Yeah.
I need you to build this thing out. I need you to give it to me at this price. I need you to give me exactly this contract terms. I need you to do this. And so it's basically, just a drag on of a lot of these things that the customers ask for. So it's just a great book that just shows how hard it is to be a salesperson. And I really, like I said, I really appreciate the challenges and the whole career in general, like, selling software. It's challenging, but also very rewarding.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned before, Mark, kind of from a mentor, somebody that you've learned from before. Any others along your career?
Yeah, Mark was great. He's all about sales process. He runs a really tight shop. I learned a lot every single day. It's like getting your Harvard MBA at work. The other guy I really appreciate, and I worked with very closely at a company called Lithium Technologies before we got acquired by Vista Equity. Ravi Kumaraswamy, one of the smartest sales leaders I have ever met. He memorizes every single number. So he always redlines my board decks. And looking back into 3 years ago, like, he remembers every single booking number. But he taught me how to think such that every decision you make in life has an opportunity cost. So one day I was, it's 8 o'clock at night, and he says, "John, what are you going to do for the weekend?" I said, "Ravi, I've been working all week. It's quarter end. I may just rest at home and wash my car." And then Ravi's like, "How long does it take you to wash your car?" And I said, "It takes me 2 hours if I do a good job." And he says, "Why don't you just get it washed at a gas station or one of those those businesses?" It's like, "Ravi, I'm too cheap. I don't want to spend $60, having my car washed. I'll just go do it myself." And he said, "John, it costs you $200 to wash your car. You get paid $100 an hour. You're going to do it for 2 hours. You're literally losing money. And by the way, you're not even going to spend time with your wife after this long week."
Yeah.
Is that the type of person I hired? Someone who thinks that way? And I was like, "Oh my God, is he calling me stupid?" And he just walks away.
I think he is. Yeah.
There's no closure at all. So the whole week I was like, "Oh my God, is he right? Am I bringing this kind of mindset to the business?" And then on Monday, he calls me up in his office and he's like, "I just want you to know that I promote people who think smarter and do not work harder, right? When you work in sales ops at Lithium, I want you to be thinking about the things that you invest, whether it be software or technology or people, that if you spend $50, you're actually returning back $1 million in cost savings for the business. So if you go think that way, you will get promoted in your careers. And so every single day, like ever since that conversation, every investment I make, it's like, how much money am I saving if I go invest just a small output of like cash to go and acquire this technology? And it's been very, very helpful in my career. I had a lot of promotions in my life. Obviously, being a founder of a company is the best promotion you could ever give yourself. But he's been amazing in my career and my development.
Oh, that's awesome. And what about any others, maybe in terms of sales leaders that you've worked with and respect along the way?
Gosh, I think there's a lot of salespeople out there where they run a really good process. They build that relationship, that trust. They're on site almost every day. They're building champions. They're getting badged in right into the organization. They have the badge. And to see them build this relationship even after they leave the organization, and they see people, they invite them to their parties, to their, that's what you call a true partnership, is when you're bringing in your customer from 3 companies ago, and you still have that relationship. That's awesome. And so there's some folks in my career that I really look up to, and I hope to build those types of relationships with my customer.
That's great. And then when you get old like me, actually even have customers where neither of you are working at those companies and you still have good relationships.
That's right.
So that's kind of when you
awesome.
Get to when you start to lose your hair there. I do like the hat fits nicely. I like it. But you have a full head of hair.
I spent too much money on gel to ruin my hair today.
Gotcha.